Hello everyone, it's Camelsaurus here, and today we're reviewing the CollectA carcharodontosaurus. Now, let's start off with the facts. Carcharodontosaurus means carcharodon lizard, which, that's really cool name. It was a carnivore, and its length was 13 to 14 meters long. It was 5.75 meters tall, so that's its height, and its weight was approximately 6 tons. It lived from 98 to 94 million years ago, which was the Cretaceous. And where it lived was Central and North Africa, specifically Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, and Niger. And it did live with animals such as Spinosaurus, and it was the apex predator of its habitat. Now, let's start off with the overall colour scheme. Now, I really like this overall colour scheme. It's really nice. It looks a lot like a tiger with the kind of orangey brown colour and the dark, like black and dark brown in places. The front of the mouth is really cool with the black and white. It really breaks it up a bit. And then obviously there are those blue bits as well, which are also very nice. Now, going into more individual detail, here we see the Carcharodontosaurus's head. You see it has a very long head, which they did have, and that's very accurate. However, one gripe I have is the fact that there is a lot of shrink wrapping on this figure, specifically in the head. And yeah, I think that kind of puts the figure's rating a bit lower, which is unfortunate. Besides that, the teeth are individually sculpted, which is very nice. Also, the mouth is also sculpted, which is very awesome, the inside of the mouth. And I'll give you a little look at that now. As you can see now, the roof of the mouth is sculpted, and so is the tongue. But actually, the tongue could be a bit better sculpted, however. It does have a line going through the middle of it, though. Now, moving on to the arms, it actually seems pretty good. The arms seem to be a very nice size. So, yeah. Now going on to the legs, which is what we have next. Here we see the legs. I have a problem with these legs. I think the legs are too small. Now that is an honest really thing I have for the figure that really puts it back a lot, is the legs are way too small. It's quite low to the ground, which Carcharodontosaurus wasn't. Also going on to the feet, the toenails, the claws are very long, and there's actually not much toe there. It's more just giant nails, which I imagine would not be very useful for walking around. Now, moving on to another thing, which I usually don't show in the figures, the hips on this thing are ginormous. Much like the Acrocanthosaurus by CollectA, it has huge hips and they're way too big. It really needs to be scaled down there. However, I feel like if it had bigger legs, I think that would have maybe been okay, but because the legs are so small and the hips are so wide, it really does look quite strange. And finally, going into the tail seems to be a good length, and also we have some spikes on the back of the Carcharodontosaurus, which also look very nice. Now, we're going into the part that I think is my favourite part about the review, the size comparisons. So up first here we have probably the model that is most like it, the CollectA Acrocanthosaurus. Now, as we can see with these two models, they are very close in size, but the Carcharodontosaurus does dwarf it. And I'm not sure you can see from this angle, but if I lift the camera up, there you go. The Carcharodontosaurus is quite a lot larger than the CollectA Acrocanthosaurus. Up next is the Spinosaurus, and yes, this really does show it is quite a large figure. As the Spinosaurus is a very huge figure, and this does show that the Carcharodontosaurus figure here is also very large. And these two figures, I'm comparing the Spinosaurus to the Carcharodontosaurus, because they did live together. However, obviously we now know wasn't in this form for the Spinosaurus. And finally, the figure I compare everything to now, the Brachiosaurus, because it is the largest figure I have, and it really does show that the size very well. It does show that this is quite a small-ish figure compared to it. Doesn't mean it's a small figure though. But yeah, I think they actually scale quite well, besides never seeing each other in the real world. So in conclusion, I think the carcharodontosaurus is a good figure. Not great, not bad, a good figure. It has a lot of problems that needs to sort out to be a great one. But all in all, I am happy with the way it is. The small things that put it back though are the shrink wrapping on the head, and the size of the hips, and the small size of the legs, and also the huge toe claws. But out of all that, I'm going to give this figure a 6 out of 10. So yeah, guys, that's my review of the CollectA carcharodontosaurus. And probably up next will be the Terabibatat Parasaurolophus. So I'll see you guys on the review table again then. Goodbye.